So in this video, we're taking down a split elm tree. The crack wasn't actually as bad as it looked from the ground. It kind of had fused together at the top, but I still opted to put a ratchet strap on it to kind of close it up and give it a little more strength. We're also going to be rigging across these two stems. So there's the split stem and then there's a stem in the back, so we'll kind of be spreading out the forces that way and using the rigging wrench to lessen the force on the anchor point. And that's really what I want to talk about in this video, is the rigging wrench. Kind of a quick review and how I've been using it. I've had it for about a year, and it's interesting. It's kind of hard to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's a pretty valuable tool. So here I'm in the stem on the house side, putting the omni block in, and then I'll bridge it across to the other stem and put the rigging wrench on. I also have a good tie-in point from the tree adjacent and a tie-in point in the tree that I'm in. There's the rigging wrench.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, it's a little freaky.
Where's your tie-in? You got one up there and one in the other tree.
I got one up here and then I got one bridged.
Oh, it's bridged. Okay.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so I'll try not to pull on it, really.
Yeah, it's not moving me around right now.
Okay.
Too much. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'll kind of notch it that way and you can let it down slow.
Here's a great example of what the rigging wrench does well, is he's pulling it across pretty much against its lean without any friction, and then he gets a lot of friction from it when the wrench engages.
You ready?
It can be difficult when the piece isn't quite heavy enough to get it down, so it's kind of nice to be able to reach the rope and pull it down. Otherwise you gotta kind of flip the rope, and sometimes it just might not come down at all. Like this little piece here. Not big enough to come down on its own. He's kind of flipping it, and then once it gets to a certain point it drops on its own.
I like spin this around a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is actually, I think, the first time I've ever used a redirect after the rigging wrench. So I have one before it, kind of,
Wow, that was better than I imagined.
bridging it across, but now I have another one, so I have kind of 3 different points in the system. And it actually works pretty well there, as you could see. But I was a little bit nervous about it creating extra friction and not being able to drop. And I'm telling him to pull this piece up, just kind of crane it over nicely, and the rope caught it very nicely there. And then we can lower it. It's a pretty big piece, so it's coming down on its own, but still not, he's holding it with one hand. It's pretty easy to control a pretty large piece. And I think you can control a piece up to about 150 pounds pretty easily with the rigging wrench. I'm using 10mm rope, which I don't know if that makes it a little bit less friction on with the wrench. So now we're pulling things completely against their lean. These lean out over the house. and I would imagine he's pulling kind of hard, but probably not too hard, and it just folds right over there pretty nicely. And that really is the beauty of the rigging wrench. If you're dealing with relatively light material that you have to pull up but still want some friction on the way down, it definitely is the way to go. Or if you just have things that are a little bit too heavy to just do by hand, and you don't want to put the porta wrap on, it's a great option. So on this one, it's kind of not right in line with the rigging wrench, and we knew that, and maybe we should have moved the rigging wrench beforehand, considering what's about to happen here. It goes over nicely enough.
Oh, it's a lot of friction.
But it wrapped around the stem and created so much friction that it wasn't going to come down unless it got unwrapped or something. So after a little bit of work, we did get it around back to the side where it would drop down. And then I still had to feed it down because it was hitting those arborvitae down there. And I promise it didn't hit the roof. It just took forever to kind of finagle it down without hitting the roof because it was hung up in all those arborvitae. So now we're back to the stem wood of the leaning part over the house, just pulling it up again and onto the rigging wrench. So a lot of the stuff that we're rigging over on the garage side, the neighbor side there, you probably could drop, but I was worried about cracking that concrete, which some of it probably would have. This is Chinese elm, and Chinese elm is pretty heavy. So right here, I forgot I even did this, but I have that sling on there just in case this codominant top breaks on the way down so we don't lose a piece. And it didn't break, but it's a good thing to think about, I guess.
Sorry, Gabe.
That's good. That went well.
Sorry, Gabe, that didn't want to move.
That's all right. That is not very heavy, I guess.
Just not enough weight there. It's probably 20
Now it's
pounds,
tied up.
30 pounds, something like that.
Oh
But really, there's a real sweet spot. But
Okay.
since I'm here, I can open up the wrench.
no! It's got your climbing line. There it is.
It's getting all tangled, of course.
Okay, now I need you to feed it down.
And let it down.
Kind of cool.
So I had the quick link on the other side, and I had the clove hitch on the split side, and I just undid the quick link and relied on the clove hitch, which I think is just fine on the one side. But then I had all this extra rope there, and so now I'm just getting back to my normal anchor style with the quick link there and a little bit of a tail. I usually get as much tail as I need for the chunks I'm going to make. So if I'm negative rigging 10-foot pieces, I'll make a 10-foot tail, and then I know exactly how long the pieces are that I want to make. You know, of course I can go shorter, but I can't really go longer, so I'm not going to just start going too long and make pieces too huge. But for chunking like this, I'm going to make like a 4 or 5 foot tail, and then at the end I'll feed the tail of my rope through the carabiner that I have there, and I'll be able to pull the whole rope out. Back to the ratchet strap. Now it's just a chunking down show. Nobody paid me or gave me anything for any sort of review of it. I just think it's a pretty cool, valuable tool, and it makes life a lot easier sometimes, and maybe harder sometimes as well. So now I'm just going to head down and go into the next tree, which I did not film.